You ready?
No.
Hello, everybody. This is Archer21, and this is my brother.
Oh yeah, I forgot I'm on camera.
Yeah, it's stupid. Which username do you want to be known by?
The cow poker.
The Cow Poker on Instagram. So this is going to be our first little foray into talking about Godzilla and other like kaiju movies. This is our podcast until we decide to make it more official. So this is the first one. We've been trying to do this for a couple weeks now. So he came over and we're going to record in person. Here on out, it'll probably be audio only on his side, or maybe we'll do something else. But if we meet up again in person, whatever, because he lives with my parents still. So not to make him look bad, he's younger than me.
Wow.
All right. So anyway, today we're going to be talking about Godzilla Minus One, peak, as some people are calling it. But anyway, so what do you want to do? You want to just go like into it?
What was your notes about it?
It was really good, really sad. I liked that Godzilla was like completely the antagonist of the movie. There wasn't like another force. There wasn't another monster. There wasn't like, oh, it's the people that are bad and Godzilla's the hero. No, Godzilla is a menace. So this new Godzilla is quite the asshole. So anyway, but I guess we'll just talk about kind of like what happens in the movies. So I mean, it's been out long enough. It's taken us quite a while to talk about it. So this is the spoiler warning. So going forward, we're going to be talking about the movie. We're going to give like a rundown of what happens, and then kind of talk about like our theories for like the sequel, and then go from there. And then after this episode, we'll be talking about all of the Godzilla movies. We're going to start with the original Gojira, and then just work our way to whichever movie is last. By the time we catch up, it'll probably be Godzilla and Kong will probably be out. So
by the time we catch up,
because we got to watch all the movies and talk about them again.
Yeah, it's gonna be the new Toho movie, like 5.
Nah,
Yes,
it'll be fine. So anyway, so the movie opens with our protagonist Koichi. He's landing his plane on Odo Island because there's some mechanical difficulties.
so he says.
Spoilers already.
You said spoilers.
Yeah, I know. But so he says. And then so he's chilling, waiting for them to work on the plane. And they're like, "Oh man, you're lucky we got this bucket of bolts to land." And then so they look it over, and then they go over to him, and they're like, "Hey, so you said your plane was faulty, but we can't find any faults. What's up with that?" And then he's like, "How dare you accuse me?"
Well, you failed to mention that he was a
yes, yeah, he's a suicide bomber kamikaze pilot. But I mean, if they saw the movie, they would kind of get that. But anyway, yeah. So then he goes and he's like sitting on the beach, and this mechanic guy, because they're all mechanics there except for like the actual indigenous people. And then so he comes up and talks to him. He's like, you know what? I can't blame you. He was like, this war is wrong. There's no sense in dying for it. Whatever. And then,
well, because he said that we're on the final days anyway.
Yeah. So, because even it says in the captions of the movie, the final days of World War II.
Because like, we already know how it's going to end, so I don't blame you for not completing your mission.
Yeah. So, he's seen it twice. I only saw it the one time. We were gonna try and watch it today, but we ran out of time. So, but
and it got better the second time I watched it, surprisingly.
So I don't remember exactly what happens next. I don't know if they just fall asleep and then they wake up or what happens, but I remember that I think they are sleeping, right? Because when the alarm goes off.
No, I think they were just drinking.
Oh, well, whatever. So then an alarm goes off, and then they're like, what is it? And then it's really cool. So they're like, get the spotlight. So they get the spotlight, and they're like shining it around, and then they shine it on like Proto Godzilla, the Godzillasaurus, I guess he would be.
In
And
Heisei terms, yes.
I mean, yeah, but
Well, Koichi saw the fish
oh yeah, that's
bloated
right.
up to the surface first before the
right.
night happened.
Yeah, because he was sitting there when he was sitting on the beach. That's right. He saw the fish. I forgot about that. So, but then they shine the light on them on Godzilla, and he kind of looks like Zilla from the American movie because he's more like hunched over.
The
and,
'98 movie.
yeah, and like dinosaur ish. His spikes are a lot smaller. He looks really cool. He looks real aggressive. Like if that was like his main design, I would be fine with it.
Well,
His final design is really cool too. Like not to get me wrong, but I did like that design a lot.
while we're talking about the design, the only thing I wish they would change, like in the sequel, is maybe like a little less Tungus and Thunder Thighs. Because
did you see the meme where it's like, how is he standing in the water, and it's like his thighs are so thick that he just floats?
Yeah, but like because they're a little. I know he's always had kind of big thighs, at least in Heisei.
Well, especially Heisei.
Just showing stuff, he's got kind of like human legs or whatever.
Yeah,
but it feels like he's kind of like too bloated,
too thick.
His belly like jiggles when he walks, which is it's cute. Like he's really cute, but it's like,
what's that song? I don't want it if it don't jiggle when he walks. But
so I just hope they slim him down just a little bit because he's got the broad muscular shoulders and arms, and he's got like the thick meaty head, but it's just like
I wish he had his little ears.
Yeah, I miss his cat ears.
But anyway, so he starts attacking them. Well, they started shooting at him first because apparently that's important. Because the novelization came out and people were like reading through it. So, but they start shooting at him because a dinosaur monster is attacking them. So they think. So they start shooting at him, and he's just knocking them around. He's whacking them with his tail. He's biting people, and I thought he was gonna eat them. I really did thought he was gonna eat them, but he just throws them, just yeets them out of there.
Humans are gross, man.
I guess. But so he just keeps on going, keep fucking them up, and then Tachibana, who's the lead mechanic, who was the one that confronted Koichi about not blowing himself up, and he tells him to get in his plane and shoot him because the guns on his plane should be able to kill anything
because they're 20 millimeter.
So he runs. He's like, all right, go, get out of here. So he runs over to his plane. He gets in there, and he thinks about it, and he's just like shaking. And then Godzilla, meanwhile, is wiping everybody out. He kind of looks at Koichi and it looks away. And then, like I said, from the novelization, we find out that he knew that Koichi wasn't actually going to do anything.
No, right order. He gets in the plane first, and then he doesn't shoot at them, and then he walks past the plane because he didn't fire. So he was getting closer to the guys in the trench, and then they freaked out and started shooting, and that's when he starts killing everybody.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think he hit the tower first because it was.
Well, yeah, he shined. Yeah, he knocked over the light tower, but so he ends up. Koichi doesn't do anything again, and then so everybody dies. He gets knocked out. The plane Godzilla bites the plane and throws it.
Tachibana was the only one that didn't shoot him, and that's how he survived too.
Yeah,
except for his fucked up leg, but casualties.
Yeah. So Koichi wakes up the next morning, and only him and Tachibana are alive. Tachibana is like carrying all the bodies, lining them up, and he sees Koichi is awake, and he's like, "You bitch!" And then they like yell at each other, and so then the next scene they get picked up by, I guess, by like the military because they're all on this big boat, all these soldiers just sitting together, and then Tachibana is like mean mugging him the whole time, and then he gets up and he throws something at him, like an envelope at Koichi, and then he just hobbles away. And then we don't find out what's in there until a little bit later. Poor Koichi, man. Just in the beginning, he's already going through it. Because then, as soon as he gets back to his village, the whole place is decimated. It had been bombed by the United States, I guess. And in air raids and stuff, and
it wasn't nuclear.
Yeah, when we watched it with our dad the first time, he thought that it was the nukes, but it wasn't. So he's like walking through, and he sees that well, he finds out that everyone in his village is dead, basically, at least in that part. His neighbor's alive, but all four, I think, of her kids.
I think so.
Yeah, all four of her kids died, so she's very upset. But then she sees Koichi's alive, and then it clicks for her that, hey, you're a kamikaze pilot. Why are you alive? And my kids aren't. And
It's your fault my kids are dead.
yeah, that really pissed me off because
one kamikaze person's gonna save everyone's lives.
Yeah, I guess he was gonna butterfly effect the war into ending. But so anyways, she like treats him like shit because of that for a while. And then so he goes and he tries to like make a shelter in his messed up house. And then he goes the next day, he wakes up.
He reads the letter there.
Oh.
It was a letter from his parents, and they're saying to come home alive. So either they didn't know he was a kamikaze pilot, or they did, and they wanted him.
They wanted him to come back home alive.
Abandon. Anyway. So this also starts some of his
anguish.
Yeah, of just like, was I supposed to die either before that day or during that attack? He's got like two different survivor's guilt things going on
already, and then it gets worse. But yeah, so I thought that he had read that letter beforehand, like so that they wanted him to live, which is why he did go to Oda Island to try and get out of the war. That's how I took it. So, but the next day he's in the market in their town, and this girl is running, and they're saying, "Hey, stop! She's a thief! Stop her!" So he steps in front of her. And I was like, wow, what a bitch. And then, wow. So she hands him what she was carrying, whatever she stole, I thought. And then, so she takes off running, and then these guys chase her. And he looked down, and then there's a baby. And he's like, oh.
I don't think she stole the baby, though.
Well, no, I know she didn't steal the baby, but she was stealing for the baby, or stealing for herself. But you're supposed to believe that she just dropped whatever she stole and gave it to him. And then he looked down and sees it's a baby. So, and then he's just like, well, what do I do with this baby? And so he sits down he keeps waiting for her to come back. So he just kind of sits down in the square, and then he's like, all right, well, I don't know I guess she's not coming back, and I'm not raising this baby. So he puts it down and walks away, but he doesn't get very far. And he's like, damn, this is a baby. So he takes the baby, he starts walking back to his house, and then the girl like jumps out from behind this wall and is like, finally, about time. And he's like, where have you been this whole time? She's like, I've been sitting here waiting for you. You think I'm going to come out the middle of the square I just got chased out of? Give me this baby. And then, so she just kind of follows him back to his house. And he asks her, like, we're focusing a little too much on the details, but I'm rambling. But so she basically, he finds out that the baby isn't hers, it's her friend's.
I don't even think it was her friends. I think it was just some random woman.
No, she said it was her friend. I mean, she could have lied, but she said it was her friend's, her best friend. I hope they didn't mush up the audio. I just rubbed it against my chin.
It would have been like,
But anyway, so not her baby. She's not a sex worker. Because he was like, oh, who could blame you?
Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't take it like that though.
Well, because he thought that like
she said I'm not a vagrant, and he's like,
well you're dressed like one. But then he was like, who could blame you living like this? So based Koichi, he supports sex workers.
My bad.
And then so it fast forwards a little bit, I think, a couple months, and then he gets a job blowing up mines that are left over by the war. And then he meets Doc,
Cap,
and Kid. And they're a colorful band of characters. We also, in the meantime, see that Godzilla got nuked. And I thought that's where he got his scar, because you can like hear his flesh sizzling in the water when he gets bombed, and then he roars.
You can see a little bit like on his eye.
Yeah. So I thought that's where he gets his like scar that they were showing off, and like the promotional stuff and the figures and stuff. Because toy collector me. But and then
toy collector. No
yeah, I know, crazy. I should have turned on my Christmas tree. That would be distracting, probably. But anyway, so they start blowing up bombs, and then this is where it starts to get a little foggy. Like as far as like the events. So I'll let him take over for a little bit. I know he doesn't meet Godzilla right away because
No.
it just kind of like shows that he gets the job. It shows that he
you get a little cute little. Well, they were like, so you were in the war, right? And he was like, yeah. And then so Kid was like, oh man, I wish I would have fought for my country. I wish the war lasted longer. And
Koichi
like,
flips,
what the fuck did you say?
beats his ass, almost throws him off the fucking boat.
But and then we get a cute little montage of them destroying bombs. Koichi shows that he's good with the machine gun because he was a pilot. And so
he was like top of his class and stuff, and he said that he never saw any real combat, but he was like top of his class in like simulations and everything.
Mm-hmm. So he would shoot the bombs that they would cut. The two boats would go cut the chain from underneath the mine where it would float up, and then they would shoot it, blow it up. And so they would just pass, I guess, the entire fucking ocean wherever they laid their bombs, the U.S. and Japan.
They probably did like grid patterns, like where they would go this way, find what they could, go this way, and then like just.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they might have had like
coordinates
because the government would send them to specific spots.
That's true. Because later on, they send them to the boat where Godzilla had just blown everything up and fucked up that like ship.
And they're in little itty bitty wooden boats because if they were metal, they would set off the magnetic mines.
Yeah.
So they're in rinky dinky ass boats going along. And they were making a lot of money though. Him and his not wife, is the girl that they picked up, are living lavishly. He's got like a motorcycle.
Oh yeah, his motorcycle.
And they go to the spot that the government sends them. And they kind of put the pieces together that they were meant to hold off Godzilla, who was wreaking havoc this whole time, just destroying boats in kind of like a zigzag pattern on his way to Tokyo.
Yeah, you see that like at each ship that he hits is on the way to Tokyo, and it's like it was funny because in the way they were drawing it, it was like there'd be a boat, and then he'd be like like every time there was a boat that would come by, he'd be like "fuck you." So it was like deliberately he's destroying these boats. Like it's like he was going out of his way to hit these boats all the way to get to Tokyo. But because Koichi doesn't know exactly what it is, he kind of has an idea at first, and then he sees like the fish floating up, and then he sees the claw marks and everything, and then I think he realizes that.
I think they told Doc specifically, the government.
Well, they probably told Doc, but I don't think they told. Well, because like Koichi figures it out. He's the one that says it's Godzilla, because like that's because that's what Oda Island called them, and so that's the only reason he knows the name, and then it spreads, and then that's how he becomes known as Godzilla, because it's Koichi. But so basically that's what happens, and then that's when you get the scene from like the trailers and stuff with him following behind, like doggy paddling.
Well, they were there to prolong Godzilla just a little bit longer for the U.S. battleship to get there.
I don't think it was the U.S. I think it was from like South America, because they were still.
I think there was like Sweden or something. I don't remember, but I know they were sending a warship.
Yeah.
To go beat Godzilla, which apparently wasn't really a warship. It was like a cargo ship
that had guns on it.
Yeah. At least like historical accuracies. Oh. And then so they were like, okay. The cat was like, you know what? I hate the government, but fuck Godzilla. Let's do this. And then Godzilla shows up, eats the other boat that we don't really get to see much of. And then they're like, okay, fuck this. We're going. So they dart off. Godzilla starts following him. What he was just talking about, where he's like kind of like floating behind them all menacingly. And they figured, or they put some bombs, the mines on their boat, because they knew that they were going to use them in the fight. So they kind of pushed him over the edge. It got lodged in Godzilla's spike when he was following them. Shot it, blew up.
Didn't do anything.
So, and then Godzilla like was opening his mouth to like get in the water or whatever,
roaring at him.
And so they're like, "Oh, let's get a mine in his mouth." And then they managed to do that.
And
it couldn't go off.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't go off immediately, and then so they have to shoot it, and then they blow Godzilla's face up, like
gives like Koichi a concussion.
Yeah, I think the other kid too. No, it was just Koichi. The other kid messes up his shoulder because he's in a sling the rest of the movie. But Godzilla's face gets blown off basically, and then he just he stops.
He dies pretty much.
Yeah, he stops. He's like, and then his like eye is gone and everything, and then immediately he starts healing. Like he has some Wolverine level healing in this movie, like Deadpool maybe even faster, because it's just like and
with his size too. Like that's nuts.
Like he has some of the best feats of a Godzilla in this movie. Like like feats and like power alone, like his hacks and stuff. He's one of the most powerful Godzillas. It's just they nerfed him and made him small.
Yeah, if he wasn't like the second smallest Godzilla, he'd be the strongest.
Yeah, he's got at least of like the live action, because Ultima is like act, and like Ghost Godzilla from GMK are like actual demons, but he's something else. And so like he immediately heals, like even regenerates his whole eyeball.
This is like the most aggressive. His atomic breath, which we haven't covered yet.
Yeah.
His regeneration.
His regeneration, like I said, is second to none Godzilla wise.
I mean, and he's pretty fast too. Like when he was biting at the plane and stuff, like, he was able to just.
Yeah, his reaction speed is really good. Like he's a menace. Like when we get to like the theory section, I do want to talk about like what monsters they could bring in and how and stuff like that, and because I want to see this Godzilla fight other monsters, because I know it's going to be brutal, it's going to be vicious, it's going to be it'll probably be like in Godzilla versus Kong, where he's just like alligator mode, like fucking Kong up in Hong Kong. Like it'll probably be like that, just full aggression, full like primal animal fighting.
But I think he might be like a little too humanoid for that. The way he like stands, because he walks like Heisei Godzilla, and Heisei Godzilla, I mean, yeah, he kind of like claws and stuff, but he doesn't like.
Heisei Godzilla is pure heat rays, just bah.
Yeah,
he don't do nothing.
He kind of like tosses, but
yeah, I was like, because Showa Godzilla was throwing hands. Legendary Godzilla throws hands. Heisei, like I said, he just kind of spams beams.
Millennial's kind of
Millennium. He kind of does both. He kind of varies, but. We haven't gotten through our Millennium rewatch yet. It's funny because we started rewatching the movies anyway, and then Minus One was like, you know what? What if we did this for real?
Yeah.
So yeah. But anyway, so he regenerates, and then he's pissed, and he has the cool scar on his eye, and then he just chases them for a while, and they eventually get away because the more military ships start showing up.
Yeah, the shit that they were waiting for shows up like right after he got nuked. Because he was about to roar at them after he got up from the regeneration. So he was like charging up his roar, and then
his roar or his breath?
His roar.
Oh.
And then the ship shot at him. He's like, oh, fuck. And then he gets on top of the ship, and then they shot him off after he did a little bit of damage. And they're like, okay, knocked him in the water. Blue glow underneath of it, and then just boom,
explosion.
Nuke goes off.
I was like, because we don't actually see his full atomic breath until he hits land later on, but he blows them up, and he just kind of like leaves after a while. Like because Koichi and them are able to get away, and then he just kind of leaves after a little bit.
Well, the nuke of the ship, like his atomic breath, the atomic breath hurt him, and the ship blowing up hurt him. So after he blew it up, he got up, and that's when he did his roar.
Oh, that's right.
All, like burned.
Yeah, like from the trailer. Because I thought that he was gonna like. I thought that's what. When I saw that, I thought that's when they kill him, and I was like, no, don't kill him. But then by the end of the movie, I was like, kill that motherfucker! Jesus Christ, they won't live in peace. So, but yeah, so I was like, oh, I don't want them to kill him, but no, he can die for now. But anyway, skip along. It's just more like. He's more traumatized. He can't get over, especially now that he knows that if he'd killed Godzilla on that island, he wouldn't be here now. He wouldn't be as strong as he is now. So he feels even worse. And then
he has a pure survival's guilt PTSD episode, like because he wakes up and from a nightmare of seeing all his comrades die on Odo Island.
Oh yeah.
And what was her name? Yumiko?
His wife?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Well, she was like, you're alive. Like, please realize this. You have to like get over this war. And
Oh.
then he wakes up the next day, and he's like, you know what? Maybe it's time for me to live again.
Yeah.
And
then,
well, she like,
oh, we forgot to mention that she had gotten a job because they had a kind of like an argument where he said that she wasn't his wife, and he told the daughter that he's not her dad.
yeah, which is fucked
It
up.
was super sad because it's like right before this Godzilla shit happens, and
We're really
it's
bad at telling stories.
yeah, well,
linearly.
ADHD, just bouncing around, but basically, so she goes against the job, and she's in, I think, Kyoto. I think I said
Giza.
something like that. It's a city that we haven't seen before in like Godzilla stuff. So
It's basically Tokyo. It's like pre-Tokyo, I think.
oh, well, okay. But anyway, so they go, and he like wakes up and finds out that Godzilla has made landfall, and he's heading straight to where she is, of course. So she's riding the train, and Godzilla shows up on land, and he's stomping around. He's fucking shit up. And he, of course, goes right for the train where she is.
Mhm.
And then we get a Godzilla 1954 reference where he like picks up the train in his mouth and throws it. First of all, hold on, because he throws something else first, I think, or maybe he throws the train then. But this Godzilla, he's sassy. He just be launching shit. Because remember later when he throws the boat,
Yeah,
and they're like, "Well, our plan failed."
I think that was the only thing that he threw.
I don't know, because he throws because he throws the train, and then I think he throws the boats later.
Oh yeah, he does, because it lands right in front of them. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
and that's when they had to stop on the brakes, and then he came and was like, "Oh, train."
Yeah, and so she falls out, and she lands in the water, which is the only way she survives. And then she runs through the city, and then she just freezes once he's like right in front of her.
Because she's like cold and wet, traumatized, and then he's still right behind her.
Yeah, and then so Koichi comes up and he grabs her, and he's like, "If you want to live, we gotta run." So they start running.
Well, there is so many references to the original 54 Rampage. There's the theater that's there in a different angle. There's the reporters on in 54, they're on a tower, but they were like, this thing is big. He is playing with this city like it is a playset. We are getting fucked up. Many people are dying. He is just trampling on them. And then he kind of like walks by them in this movie.
And he tail whacks the building, and they like fall. It doesn't show that they actually die, but they're like falling off, and they're like sliding. So
I think the camera shows like it falls with them.
No.
And then in 54, they were on a like radio tower, like an actual like tower, and he goes up to it, and it's just like playing with it, and they're like, "Wow, this is our last broadcast. Goodbye," and they fall to their death.
Okay.
That was a nice reference. The train, obviously.
I have to check the recording. I get nervous because when I was recording my Hawkman video, I kept running out of space and I didn't know it, so I just kept talking. But anyways, so then I think like it's either a fighter jet or a attack helicopter or something. I don't remember. Something comes out. I start shooting at him.
It was tanks
and tanks. There wasn't anything in the air.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well,
so.
Tanks start shooting at him. He starts getting attacked. So he gets pissed, and then he
was unaffected though. Like the smoke clears, everyone stops and stares. Of course.
Well, yeah.
Because Tank shot him. Like, oh, maybe he's dead. Nope. Just comes out through the smoke, and then just.
Yeah, and then it starts at his tail, and I like when it starts at his tail. Legendary did it too. But like like the spikes shoot up with the energy. It gets all the way up, and thankfully for like the people in this movie, Godzilla has such a long charge up for his atomic breath, because he has to extend all his spikes out, which is really cool. And then he gets up to the top, and then it's kind of like maybe Millennium or like Final Wars or something like that, where like you see the energy charge up in his mouth.
That was Final Wars.
And then he like inhales, and then so he has like a whole,
and the spikes shoot down.
Well, yeah, it's like the spikes go back into his back, and then that's when he like fires it. So it's kind of like a gun. And so it's like it's a really powerful like hyper beam. Like we just keep comparing it to other Godzillas, but basically it's like I don't know, because Legendaries is kind of like, it's different. It's not as like focused. There's not many beams that are that focused.
2014's is. His beam is like really little.
No, because it's like I watched that clip of the Muto where he kills it, but
yeah, it's really tiny.
No. But except for maybe Shin, but Shin's is too focused. It's like needle thin.
And his is like extremely long range.
Yeah. But anyway, his shit's like a Kamehameha going off. It's like, and then, which it caught us completely off guard when we first watched it. But once it hits something, it's literally like an atomic bomb goes off. There's a mushroom clouds and everything, the ash, the soot, it just poof. And then it's really cool because the shockwave knocks everybody over and then sucks everybody back up. But so like while that's happening, well, actually right before, they're like right by this alley, and I knew something was gonna happen. I was telling the movie, I was like, Koichi, run. I was like, run into the alley, take your wife, let's go. You're not wife. And then run into the alley. And so instead, right after the nuke explodes and the dust starts coming towards them, she saves him, which makes him even worse.
Pushes him in the alley.
Yeah, so she pushes him in the alley, and then right after he falls, like as soon as he hits the ground, you see the go, and then right back. So she's fucked. She's dead. And so his survivor's guilt just got magnified again because he had just realized that, I love my not wife. And he was like, oh, I want to be better for her. I want to live. No, Godzilla said no. Fuck you in particular. And so he gets out of the alley. He sees that everyone is gone. Everyone's dead. And then he's like screaming at the top of his lungs, just crying.
And then the ash rain.
Yeah, and then the ash and soot rains. And then Godzilla just kind of like looks at him, which.
Well, he doesn't look at him.
Well, he looks out, but it looks like he's looking at him, and he's looking directly at Godzilla. It'd be funny if like
Godzilla was looking at his destruction anxious cause. Like he's looking at the mushroom crowd as just roar.
He's like, yeah, go me. But then they have that, and then he just like he's all fucked up. So then he will do anything he can to kill Godzilla. And then there's the scene with the baby when they have her funeral, and
mom's going away for work, and she starts crying, and the Koichi just has to walk out. Oh my god,
it's so painful. That little girl, that little baby actress, she killed it. I don't know if she knew what was happening, but like, god damn. So it's painful stuff. So, but then they're determined that they're gonna kill Godzilla no matter what. So they have a couple different plans that they develop with Doc, and he has like a whole presentation. But because we've been getting a little focused on the details, I want to get to the end of like the spoilers and like the theories and stuff. But basically, they come up with a plan. So they're gonna sink Godzilla rapidly, like all the way down to the bottom of this trench, and hope that the pressure will kill him.
The pressure change.
Yeah, and if it doesn't kill him, then they have a backup plan, which is to shoot him all the way back up, so that it, like, if it didn't do it that time, it'll do it the second time. And Koichi wants a plane because his plan is to finally like kamikaze himself with the hopes of flying into Godzilla's mouth and blowing him up. So they find this like prototype plane that's supposed to be really fast, really nimble. It's got the propeller in the back. So he goes on this whole quest to get Tachibana back to do it. So he starts sending him letters saying that everything is his fault. So he intentionally pisses him off because he can't find him anywhere. He tries. He goes to like the I don't know, whatever,
like the directory registry.
Yeah, thing. Something like that. It's basically like the yellow pages in Google, but like a physical building.
I think it was specifically for like soldiers and stuff.
Well, they were looking because he said they were backed up because of everybody else that died when Godzilla attacked. So it might have just been a neutral thing.
30,000 people died in that rampage. Yeah.
Yikes. So, but anyway, he pisses off Tachibana to the point where Tachibana follows him home, beats him over the head, ties him up in his own home, and then beats him up. And he's like, what the fuck is this? And he throws the letters at him. And he's like, yeah, I was trying to get your attention. And I was like, Koichi, what the fuck?
I mean, it worked.
Yeah, I mean, it did. I was
like, get a black eye because of it, but it worked.
I mean, yeah. can't, don't hate the player, hate the game, I guess. So anyway, he convinces Tachibana that he's gonna off himself, and he's like, "Good, that's what I want." So they go and they fix up this plane.
I mean, he's like willing to kill himself because
he's got nothing. He feels like he has nothing left to live for,
except his daughter. Like he even says his daughter, like, "I'm not leaving you," and then he immediately leaves that night.
Yeah, I know.
He leaves money for the neighbor girl who was taking care of their kid while he was gone and while his wife was.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about the neighbor because, like I said, she treated him like shit in the beginning, and then she found out he had a baby that wasn't his, and she was like, "Wow, maybe he's not such a bad guy." And plus, she lost all 4 of her kids, so
yeah, she liked taking care of the kid.
Yeah, it just kind of like brought her around. She had a really good character arc too. The characters in this movie are very strong.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they fix up the plane. They put the biggest bomb they could find in it. They attach these big ass guns to it. And then, like, I knew it right away because they were talking about because Doc has a speech while they're working on the plane, like during the montage. He has a speech like the day before they finish the plane, before the plan of Godzilla shows up.
And then he talks about all the different casualties, and one of them being no injector seats in.
Yeah, he said that it was pointless. He said even he was like, kamikaze is pointless. It doesn't do any good, and we're a backwards country, and we need to fix that. And so they talk about how they're the only country that had no ejector seats, basically.
Yeah, war.
So I knew right then that something was going to happen. I was hoping, at least. And so it shows Tachibana, like I said, during the montage. Ignore his stimming. And he's like going through and he finds something in the plane. And then later on, he shows Koichi what it is, but we don't get to hear it. And so anyway, the plan goes off, and then their plan was they recorded Godzilla's roar, and they were playing it underwater, thinking that it would be another predator, and it would piss them off and have them like follow the boat into the trench. Well, it does piss him off, and he throws the boat at them because they're at the shipyard getting ready to like ship off. They're like, oh, all right, any minute now, the plan A is going off. Great. I forget what they call it, like the decoy team or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they throw the boat. Godzilla throws the boat at them, and then you hear over the radio that decoy team just fell. It's like, well, no shit. I don't think he was very happy about that. So he starts rampaging, and then so they go off and they try to set up their plan. Koichi gets in his plane. He flies off. And
Koichi was gonna bring Godzilla to them.
Yeah.
So Godzilla was just walking kind of like in a straight line. For some reason, he was in like a rural area.
Yeah, he was like farmland and stuff. And then because there's like a dog, and I was like, "No, dog, run!" And then the dog runs away, so he's fine. And Godzilla doesn't use his atomic breath again for a while, so I didn't have to worry about the dog dying. But so
Tachibana just like basically annoys him by flying around him, and I don't think he really shoots him. Koichi, yeah,
he does. He shoots at him.
Yeah, so he just kind of flies around, just pissing him off. He's like biting at it, and like his tail swings by. He just barely misses, and some reason it pisses him off enough where he follows him out to the water, and he keeps following him from land to sea all the way out to the trench. He's just still pissed off at this one plane.
Because I told you, Godzilla's a menace, man. He's like, fuck this guy. So he goes and he starts. I think he does start. I don't remember, but anyway, so he charges up his atomic breath, and he
keeps flying around him until he's annoyed, and then they do their little boat thing.
Well, yeah, where they wrap around him, but
sink him.
They don't sink him yet because they wait for him to nuke the decoy boat. Remember?
Oh yeah, that's right. Because he's regenerating.
Yeah, because he has to have a cooldown for his atomic breath, and then it hurts him when he uses his atomic breath,
which is really fucking cool.
Yeah, it's raw. So he uses his atomic breath, and he blows up the boat. And they're really brave for not having any protection outside of that. There's dudes just sitting on the boat, like, oh man, and then a nuke goes off right next to them. So, but anyway, so he has a cooldown time, and then so they start doing their plan. They try to sink him and everything, and then he tries to atomic breath him again sooner than they planned, but that's when Koichi starts shooting at him again. And then, or no, that's when they sink him.
Yep. They sink him as he was charging, and then so he gets down to the bottom, and he just like his
well, he's still charging as he's like falling and everything, and as he's getting pulled down, like he's still glowing. And then he gets down to the bottom, and he hits a certain threshold, and he's like, he freezes up. His glow goes away. He just kind of like implodes. And then they're like, "Yeah, we did it." And then the reels start going. They're like, "Fuck!" So they're like, "All right, pull him up." So then they try to pull him up, and then the inflatables that were supposed to like pull him up, he clawed them at some point. I don't know, or he bit through them. They said they were chewed through. So.
Yeah, but he definitely just
Yeah. So
he got like stopped halfway because the line broke.
Well, that was on the way up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he clawed at them, and then they were like, "All right, move the boats," so they would still like pull him up. And then the line like breaks, and then he gets stuck. So they were like,
what are we gonna do?
We need to pull him apart to get him to the surface. But at that point, he was at that level for a while. Like, he would have adjusted to
the pressure
change, which was their whole plan, was pressure change. So him being like stable there, they should have known
this ain't gonna work.
If we pull him up again, it's just not gonna work. They could have like figured out how to pull him back down again or something. I don't know, but
bounce him. But I mean, it's hard to do with water and how fucking heavy he is.
Yeah.
But so and then Kid, who we kind of glossed over that too, but Kid wasn't allowed to join because he had his arm in a sling, and they didn't want him to die.
Yeah.
How dare they?
Because they said we leave the future to you.
So. Yeah. Well, and because everyone else there was like a hardened veteran, and so he's like, "Oh, because I didn't serve in the war, I can't be on this mission." And they were like,
"That's a good thing."
They're like, "Yeah, good, bitch, shut up." So they tell him that he's not allowed to go. But then, of course, he comes anyway. He brings all these other boats of people that backed out originally because they wanted to live. And because they gave them the option, like, you don't have to do this. So a bunch of people did back out. And, you know, I respect it. But then they came back anyway. Double respect. Mm-hmm. So they came back and it happens super fast. Like, it doesn't even show it. But then that's why I think their plan would have gotten fucked up. Because he was sitting there in stasis for so long. And they got all these other boats hooked up to these other boats. And then they start pulling them, and then they pull him back up. And then, so it does fuck him up a little bit, because you see him, like, swell up when he gets up.
His eyes are all puffed out. He's got, like, sores pouring out of him.
Yeah, it's real gross.
He looks really cool, though.
He kind of looks like Shin, where he's just fucked up. Well. Because Shin is ugly.
Peak design. Anyway.
But, so, and then, because Koichi's just flying around this whole time. And he
starts his breath.
Oh yeah, he regenerated enough. He starts charging up his atomic breath again. And then we get a flashback of, because Koichi's like determined, and they're yelling at him like, "Koichi, don't you fucking kill yourself." They got him on suicide watch. So they're like, "Don't you fucking dare." Because like, you got a kid, dumbass.
And then he just ignores them.
Yeah, he just ignores them, which doesn't make it any better. I would have at least said something, you know, if I were him. But
you were not him.
So but then we get a flashback of, like we were alluding to, there is an ejector seat built into it. So I guess Japan learned their lesson and installed one. But I think it was a joint effort between this plane. I think was a joint effort between Japan and some other country.
It was like their last line of defense, so they probably wanted their soldiers to survive.
I don't know, but I think they did say it was part of like another country helped work on it. I don't know. It's probably the Nazis.
Whoa. I don't know anything about that. I'm not political.
Shut the fuck up. You don't think the Axis powers work together? Fucking hydroplane. Literally, it's like a plane out of Captain America, First Avenger.
Yeah, I know.
So, but anyway, I'm going off topic. But I keep looking at the reflection to see if it's recording. But he's about to suicide bomb because Godzilla's charging up, and he has, like I said, this big like megaton bomb inside of his plane.
Everyone else just thinks they're about to die.
Yeah, because they've just accepted it. Like, all right, Godzilla's about to blast us. We're done for. Wallahi, we're finished. So Koichi ejects, and he flies the plane directly into Godzilla's mouth, and it explodes. And the energy that was going to come out from his atomic breath starts poking out through him, like, and and then he crumbles like stone, which was really weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because of like
It was probably because of the energy.
it's probably that, or he just got like he cooked himself, or
Maybe.
it was like the pressure just weakened him so much. But I don't know why he turned into stone. That was weird.
He
But
didn't like turn to stone.
he literally crumbled. There was like
Well, yeah,
rock
he
noises. It was like,
Well, just flesh. Just
the flesh don't sound like that. Not that I would know.
it was if he's made out of scales.
Anyway, so and then he crumbles and then he falls into the ocean. They're like, "Woo, we did it!" And then
They think he's dead, Luigi. And then he's like, "Oh, there he is." And
yeah,
then,
they find him and then everything. But while this is all happening, the neighbor lady, she Auntie, she gets a letter for Mrs. Koichi. We forget his last name. That's why we have been calling him Koichi.
Did you say that Tachibana was like pull this lever to survive?
I told you that they found. I talked about how they found the thing. He like shows them it, and they found it in the flashback.
Well, because Tachibana was like, "I want you to kill yourself," and then when he was like, "Okay, here's an ejector seat. I want you to live," and so he was like crying. He was like, "I really hope this fucker lives."
Yeah, true.
When they were like broadcasting it.
Well, because they were also saying that like you can avenge them without killing yourself. Because I guess he found out that he had a family or something, but maybe he didn't care. He was just like, you know what, maybe I was too hard on you. But so anyway, they get a letter for Mrs. Koichi, and they which I was like, what? But then they just kind of gloss over it until afterwards.
I thought it was Tachibana because
I did too, actually.
He left the letter for the neighbor saying like, "Here's money. I think the deed to the house. Like, take care of my kid."
Yeah.
And then she gets that letter later, and I thought it was Tachibana giving her the letter, being like,
"Hey, I gave him an ejector seat, so if he doesn't come back, that's his fault." Yeah, that's what I thought too.
He's gonna live. Don't worry about it.
Well, no, I thought it was like, "Hey, look, I gave him an ejector seat. Whatever happens, happens." Like, I gave him the option. But so anyway, after they celebrate and everything, they go to the hospital. We were like, "There's no way," and sure enough, Mrs. Koichi is there, and it's super
finally over.
It's super sad because he goes up to her and he just starts bawling his fucking eyes out, and then she asks him, she gives him a fucking one-liner. It's like, "Is your war finally over?" And he just like he's sobbing, and the baby's just chilling. She's like, "Oh, hey, mommy." So, but then he's like crying into her, and she's crying too, and then we see like this black stuff like crawl up her neck, and it's like, oh god, what is it?
And the movie ends.
And then we see in the water that Godzilla's meat chunks are like regenerating.
They're bubbly.
And so Godzilla survived yet again. So now we'll get into theory talk. So I think that it's gonna be like kind of like Shin, maybe, or something like where he regenerates to counter I don't know, there's other things that do that, like Maharaga or whatever it's called from Jujutsu Kaisen, where he like regenerates and then he adapts to anything. And then like Shin Godzilla is kind of like that. Spoilers for Invincible, but Alan the Alien, he does that later. Like every time he dies or almost dies, he regenerates, becomes stronger, becomes more durable. So I think that he's going to evolve into something harder to kill.
God, that's what we need.
He's going to get bigger. He's going to be more pissed. Or we get a Goku situation and he's good now, and then we get Hero Godzilla. But I don't think so, because we got Legendary Godzilla. So
he's got brain damage now. He's just
he has to regenerate his whole brain. So I don't know. But I was like, maybe that's what happens, and we get Hero Godzilla. But I think MonsterVerse is doing that. Although I don't know how much more MonsterVerse is going to continue, because
I think
they put out something that said the MonsterVerse will continue recently, like before the trailer.
I think there'll be one more after Kong, because we got to see like his kid and stuff.
Maybe.
Do you think we're gonna get a Godzilla Jr.?
I think
Legendary?
so. I think so, because they're showing that
Kong Jr.
Yeah, we get that little baby Kong. So even though I think that's Scar King's kid,
it's just a baby imp, chimp.
But anyway, so either he's gonna regenerate into something bigger, because like I said, he's a small Godzilla, and I think it's gonna take time to regenerate. So it could be like we could get like a big time skip, especially if he does grow, or like he sinks to the bottom of the trench, and then so it takes him a long time to grow, and they don't really notice. Because I said something when we first watched the movie, but I think it'd be really cool if it's like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, where like Koichi's kid has to fight Godzilla, and then it's like a generational thing where every time the Godzilla shows up, and that's if they don't like introduce other monsters or whatever. But
Yeah. Let's get into the big thing first.
what?
Her goop. Because the main theory is she's infected with Godzilla gunk, and she's going to turn into like a Shin Godzilla human hybrid.
Yeah.
So if she does do that, and you want to do that generational thing, where she has to kill her Godzilla mom,
No,
that'd be fucked up.
I don't want to do that. That's too bad. That's too mean. But I don't know. I just think that it would be cool if they just like every movie is like a new decade or something like that. So it was like in the 40s. I think it was in the early. I think it was the late 40s, early 50s. But well, no, it had to have been because the baby was still like 1 by the end of the movie. So it was like 1946, I think, by the end of the movie. So
wasn't it the same testing? So it would have been like 50s. I don't know.
I don't remember because it was not long after the war. Because
I know.
The only point of reference we really have for
this with my beard,
but because I mean they do give us time frames and like, but the baby doesn't grow that much. Like it's a couple months and then she's like a year old. I don't think she's even older than 2. Although she was walking and stuff. I don't know how babies develop,
but if she does do like a Godzilla hybrid thing, that means there's like a Godzilla disease thing. That way they can do other monsters. Like I was saying that I told you.
Yeah.
Have like a bird kind of swoop in, grab a little chunk of them, Rodan.
I don't like that.
Or we have like, I said like a horseshoe crab. Since
listen to this dumb shit. A horseshoe crab turned into Anguirus. Fuck out of here.
Because we don't have armadillos on our
We could have Ibura.
We could have Ibura.
Star level Ibura. But
just other sea creatures eat him, get Godzilla gunk, and
I mean maybe,
mutate.
But then we could get more like original monsters, kind of like MonsterVerse does with the Titans, where they're not exactly legendary legacy monsters, but I mean, well, I mean technically they are legendary, but not with like a capital L.
Toho.
Yeah, but I was saying because they have this dinosaur just on the island chilling. Where did he come from?
That's true.
So.
Well, wasn't I guess I didn't say, but wasn't he kind of like also mutated?
But how would he have gotten mutated? That was before the first nukes, and like, well, because this is the H-bomb testing, and
it was the Monster Island just dormant radioactive, like in Destroya.
No. No, because
in the novel they were saying that the people of Odo Island would give him Godzilla like presents, and he would give them deep sea fish.
But what did they give Godzilla? Where he's like, oh,
the same thing they gave him in 54. They
a human sacrifice.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Gave him the woman virgins.
Yeah. I wish we recorded our conversation the other night.
We were watching 54 again.
Yeah, I fell asleep because I was EP, but it was just funny. I won't get into it, but anyway. But no, I think that they're gonna do obviously not the same. Because with Godzilla Raids Again, they say that they kind of touch on Hollow Earth even way back then, sort of. It's like a cave, and they said that Godzilla had come out of there, so that's where the second Godzilla comes from Raids Again. And Anguirus was in there too.
Yeah.
And then I think Rodan, we have to watch, when we go back through, we need to watch the first Rodan movie.
I think he was just in a volcano. Like, he was just a dinosaur.
No, that was in I don't remember.
Because there's like 2 Rodans, I think, in that movie. I don't know, we didn't watch it, but I think one of them dies and the other one goes into a volcano.
Maybe.
And then he
comes I remember
out in Ghidorah.
Yeah. I can't wait to talk about some of the Showa movies. Like when Destroy All Monsters, I think it is, where they jump King Ghidorah.
That movie's so fucking funny.
Oh my god, I love that movie. They beat his ass. Anyway, we're getting off topic again.
Anguirus the goat.
Yeah, for real. But basically, I think that there's gonna be some way for the other monsters to show up, whether they eat Godzilla gunk and get mutated, or they all come from a similar place. Because Singular Point, they all came out of whatever dimension it was, but they were all similar. Like the Rodans had similar features. Like they all have like the fucking fuck ton rows of teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Like even Anguirus, even though Anguirus, when he first shows up in Singular Point, he's like a baby and he grows really quickly. But like I think that if they decide to do other monsters, I think they need to do it in a way where it kind of makes sense, but it kind of doesn't have to make sense. Because, like I said, they just had a dinosaur monster chilling on Odo Island for, if we go off the original 1954, for generations. Like, because there was the old dudes were like, back in my day, we used to sacrifice virgins out to the ocean. And, but now the times have changed.
Now we only do this stupid dance, and clearly it didn't work because we immediately get taxed the next day.
Well, that's because he got nuked. So,
boo-hoo.
H-bomb. We should stop saying nuke because it's technically not accurate.
Oh, boo-hoo.
So, but he used the H-bomb originally.
I'm kind of glad they didn't use the O-bomb. When they first did the demonstration of like, this is how we're gonna kill Godzilla, and they did like the bubbles, I was like, oxygen destroyer! Oh my god!
Well, they made it look like the oxygen destroyer,
I think
like on purpose.
Yeah.
But like the compressed air sinky things, which we didn't really talk about because we skipped a lot. But I don't know. I think that having them fight Godzilla over a generational timeline until we eventually catch up to modern day would be really cool. Or if it's,
I don't think it's going to be like 100 years or whatever for him to regenerate.
Well, no, but I think it'll be maybe like 10, 15 years, because then, well, maybe like 20 years. It depends. Like I said, it depends on how long, and it depends on if he gets
already
bigger.
bubbling. Like,
yeah, we don't know how big the
fuck does he regenerate like that? He literally crumbled. Like there was almost nothing left.
He's like Cell. If the nucleus isn't destroyed, he comes back.
I was gonna say, like, there's got to be some part of him that, like, he's got the second brain in his thigh.
Oh yeah, I don't know, because there's no sense of scale in the ocean. That's what people were complaining about with that scene of Kong and Godzilla running in the Godzilla and Kong trailer, where there's like, oh, there's no sense of scale. It's because they're in the Hollow Earth. It's a Titan breeding ground.
Yeah,
literally. So, but we don't know how big that chunk is that was in the water. So we don't know how long it's going to take to regenerate. We don't know how deep it's going to be, how long it'll take him to regenerate an entire body from a chunk of meat. We don't know if he is going to get bigger, like I said, or anything like that. So,
there's lovers.
But I should cover the mic instead if I coughed over here.
Cough directly into the mic.
But
don't cut that out.
I'm not going to. I hate editing. But I don't know, man. I think that it'll be fine. I hope it doesn't take a long time. And they're definitely going to make a sequel. They left it very open-ended. The guy that made it, the director, he's saying that he's open to a sequel. Shin Godzilla kind of got like shelved, which I mean, and I don't know if it's true or not, but they were blaming Legendary because they were saying that they can't have two coexisting Godzilla timelines.
No.
But
already wrong.
Clearly that either that changed or that was never the case, because they ended up doing, because it was like Legendary Godzilla, Shin Godzilla, and then there was nothing, and then there was King of the Monsters, and then Godzilla and Kong, and then Minus One,
also Kong,
or versus Kong, and then Godzilla and Kong, or X Kong,
because they're lovers.
Yeah, trans femme Godzilla,
my goat.
But I think going off of the evolved Godzilla real quick, because I sent you that thing about the
he got his ass beat by Godzilla, and that's why he's evolving this way.
No, I didn't send you that. No, I was just talking like the Space Godzilla thing I sent you, like that sculpture.
Wow. Because
I think evolved Godzilla would be a cool base for it, because he's kind of got like the glowing crystalline spikes. I think that'd be cool. I really wanted Space Godzilla because they said it's gonna be a new threat we never seen before, but it's just another monkey.
I really wanted
monkey.
I really wanted Biollante because Middle Earth or whatever, Hollow Earth, would have been really cool.
Yeah.
Considering there's like a new Hollow Earth energy, like nuclear energy, but
I think the Biollante, if they were going to bring in more Legendary or Toho, I keep calling them Legendary, more Toho legacy characters that I know they're expensive, and that's why they were only in
King of the Monsters.
King of the Monsters. Spoilers. Did you see they're possibly bringing Mothra back for Godzilla and Kong?
Mm-hmm. And they're saying that like Godzilla's gonna be all soft around here.
Yeah.
And Kong's gonna be like, what the fuck?
Who is this guy? But I'm glad they're bringing Mothra back, because they had that other egg that they found. So Hopefully, this Mothra lays an egg before it dies again, because you know what's gonna happen.
Poor Mothra, man.
Oh man,
You cannot survive a single movie.
Except for Rebirth of Mothra, because Mothra Leo, the goat.
Well, his mom died in that movie.
Well, yeah, but he doesn't die.
Technically, she survives.
GMK.
No.
No.
Ghidorah the three-headed monster.
Oh,
her and Rodan.
Yeah.
Both jump Ghidorah.
Yeah, that's right.
That movie's so bad. I hate that movie so much.
Good thing we have to watch them all again. If this does well.
Like and subscribe and ring that bell.
Yeah. I don't know. But I want
bash my head against the wall.
Why? Oh my god, I'm not cutting that out either. I hope that this does. I mean, it's already doing really well. I hope it wins like awards and stuff like that. I hope that,
So I don't even know if I'm in frame.
Yeah, you are. I don't know. I just hope that they make a sequel, and I hope it's good.
I'm pretty sure they will, because back in the day, when the Shin Godzilla came out, and everyone's like, "We need a Shin Godzilla 2." Jesus Christ, that movie was amazing. Wow, there's so much potential for a sequel. And they were like, "No, we're gonna do a new Toho universe."
Yeah, that's right. And you got all butthurt about it.
Yes, of course I'm butthurt about it, because Shin Godzilla was amazing, and I knew this shit would happen. When Minus One came out, people started backpedaling on fucking Shin. And was saying that it was like, oh, it was so fast paced. I couldn't get into it.
Apparently, that's just his style for these Shin movies.
But it works.
It worked
not for Ultraman.
No, but
it worked for Kamen Rider, and it worked really well for Shin Godzilla. But considering that was the whole plot of the movie.
Yeah, it's because they were so. Well, I mean, we can say this when we talk about it, but like it was so fast paced because they're like, shit, what is this thing? We have to react immediately, or else we're gonna die.
And they're like, "Oh, it's fine. It's just an earthquake."
It was not. So they have to do something. So I mean, they can, if they really are going to do a shared universe, maybe they will do like the other movies where they had Godzilla first, and then they had Rodan, and then they had Raids Again with Anguirus, and then they had
Raids Again was first, then it was Rodan.
Really? Okay. Was still. And then Mothra was introduced. Mothra was introduced in Mothra versus Godzilla. She got the title.
Didn't she have her own movie before that too?
No, I think that was the first time. But then they have
Ghidorah.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about like the other monsters, because there was like the big hairy gorilla looking Frankenstein looking dudes.
Gargantuans.
Yeah.
And they also had Manda.
Oh yeah.
But do you think they're gonna bring in aliens for this new universe? Because
I don't think so.
Mechagodzilla, Ghidorah, Gigan.
No.
Megalon.
No.
Like so many monsters are aliens, at least in Showa. So
I don't think so.
I mean, they kept Ghidorah being an alien in Legendary,
which is why I thought the Legendary was gonna show some balls. Legendary Pictures, are you watching? My one fucking video. But they should have used the aliens. I know it's expensive, and that's probably why they aren't doing it. They're going their own route, whatever, boo-hoo. But we wanted to see more monsters, because you saw how well Godzilla King of the Monsters did, and how much everybody loves the design of Ghidorah, of Mothra, of Rodan. Like
the only criticism about that movie is the people.
Yeah, which them.
I can see.
And Eleven's mom specifically.
Yeah,
I don't even remember her actual name in that movie. But anyway, because to the point
I think that's the only movie, that in 2014, where I don't really like the people in it. And I know everyone's making a big fuss right now on Twitter and stuff, like, oh, the humans in the movie sucks.
Yeah,
but I liked Godzilla and Kong, or versus Kong's people. I liked all the Showa and Heisei like people for the most part. Millenniums.
I like the Millennium, and Heisei.
I like the G-Force and stuff. And the psychic girl and her like
that's true
disciples.
Because I like And that's the thing, because the Showa movies are kind of like they're canon to each other, but the Heisei movies are a linear timeline of each thing that happens, and like there's recurring characters with like
Mika, I think.
I don't know, the psychic girl with the big ears. And then, but like they have a timeline, and then like because they have Godzilla Jr. Well, he's baby, and then he's little Godzilla, and then Godzilla Jr., and then
he's Godzilla.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Oh man, we can cover those too. Huh? We can cover those too, like the Fan Fest movies or whatever they're called.
Peak.
Yeah. Man. But anyway, what I was gonna say,
they're bringing back the aliens, fucking Megalon and Gigan.
Megalon's new design is sick as hell.
Yeah, I really like Gigan's too.
I wish they had revamped Jet Jaguar. Because I mean, Singular Point's Jet Jaguar, like his final form is pretty cool. You know me, I gotta bring out the toys. But because what I was gonna say was actually a toy related point. Going back a couple things. What I was gonna say is going towards like designs and stuff of like the legacy monsters. Like oh no, I can't remember. Haya Toys. Haya Toys is a toy line that does Godzilla figures. They've only so far done Legendary, I think, the Legendary movies.
I don't think you have any, do you?
No. No, I don't. I did pre-order King of the Monsters, Godzilla, and King Ghidorah, because not only are they better painted, better sculpted, and much cheaper than Monster Arts. Monster Arts is overrated. I'll say that, because they're well over $100 and yeah, they're articulated and stuff, but like, because I'm looking at Ultima and Shin, so like they look good, especially like translucent version, like Shin, he looks really cool, but there's no point in this thing being well over $100 for something that barely moves.
Barely moves.
Like he has articulation, but I just think it's overrated. Anyway, because and then just like plain Monster Arts, MonsterVerse Godzilla was again well over $100, and he didn't come with anything, no atomic breath, no nothing. And then you get the Haya Toys where he comes with atomic breath, and he's like $80, I think, something like that. And then King Ghidorah, who is massive, like his wings literally probably this size or bigger.
I think it's bigger,
but it has. I would say probably, but just look at the wingspan. Like, look at that. You know. So sorry about him, but
rude. I
think that. But people are still hype for these releases of these figures. Godzilla King of the Monsters, when did that come out? Look it up. It had to be like 2019.
I'm going to say 2018.
I think it was either 2018 and 2019. Because I know Godzilla vs. Kong came out in 2020, because it was like one of those movies that
2019.
Simul released. Yes.
Fake fan. Take away my autism.
Yeah. But I don't know. Is there anything else you want to say that's specifically about Minus One? Because we kind of went on a fucking tangent again.
Oh, I knew I was thinking about something. Oh, the goop.
Oh yeah. I don't think that I think it's just radiation
poisoning. You asked me.
Sorry, I'm gonna kill myself.
Twitter was saying, I didn't do the research, but people were saying that if you just look up radiation poisoning, it's kind of like self-explanatory. It's like organ failure from being in a literal nuclear bomb blast radius and having the nuclear ash fall on her and be in nuclear covered debris for God knows how long.
Yeah, we don't know what happened to her. She got sucked up, blown away, and we don't see what happened to her until the end of the movie, and she's got a bandage. She kind of looked like him. She had like a bandage around her head and around her eye. Yeah. And then, but I don't know, the fact that it was moving is kind of what was like, well, because it was
blood spreading.
It just spreads as soon as he gets in the room, huh? Yeah, sure. This guy don't know how blood works.
Yeah, Godzilla's cells.
Godzilla's cells since Koichi was like, bitch, I'll kill your wife. Kill me.
My dad was saying it was Mothra related, but that's stupid.
Oh, Mothra?
Yeah. He was saying it was like some Mothra twins shit. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
He was also trying to say, I hope he doesn't find out about this. But he's going to be like, oh, look. Let me watch this Godzilla review. Let's see what happens. And you see those two fucking goobers talking shit.
He was
saying that I'm taking your thunder again because I don't like to share the light. We were.
That's why I'm out of frame.
But he was arguing with us after he watched the movie that they were connecting it to the legendary verse because he attacked the same ship.
And it wasn't even the same ship. When I watched it again, I was looking at it, and it was like it was a different thing.
I'm pretty sure he just saw like a YouTube video or a Facebook article or Google article, I should say. He doesn't.
It was the USS Lancaster in -1, and it was like the something and
USS America. I don't know. It was something, but he said
that
it was
old fuck in King of the Mon or
John Goodman's character. Because that's what he said. He kept saying John Goodman, and I was like, the dad from Speed Racer. I got you.
And he was old as fuck in that movie too. In Kong Skull Island, he was like, something attacked our thing, and it was like that thing. I'm like, I don't think Kong destroyed your ship, old man, but whatever.
Yeah. Because, I mean, they do have the Godzilla cave paintings, but I don't know. Do you have any final thoughts?
Go watch it. It's going to be in theaters for like another 2 weeks because it's doing so well. Only if you're in US or Canada. Sorry, other countries, you don't exist. According to Toho.
Yeah. No.
Because that's what they only talk about, basically US and Japan in their movies.
True. Well, except for Shin, where they had like Russians and Swedens.
Yeah.
Swiss.
Shout out Shin. Good movie.
Because we first watched it. God, we need to stop going on tangents. I need to wrap this up.
Oh, my case was broken.
When we first watched Shin, we watched the English dub, and then we watched it on DVD and sub, and then we were like, "Wow, this is so much better!" Because the characters, when they speak English, they speak English.
Shout out Sean Schemmel, who was just one background character.
Yeah, Chris Sabat too.
Yeah,
but anyway, so they speak English to each other, and then when the Russians are speaking Russian, and when the Swiss are speaking, when the Swedes are speaking Swedish. Whatever them funny talking people were, them dang Europeans. I don't know, but you can hear them speaking their native language, and it's all subtitled, so they don't have to worry about it. So, although it's always funny because whenever you get an American in a Godzilla movie, they don't sound like they're actually speaking English. It sounds like someone's dubbing an English American actor.
I was going to say something about the 56 movie, but I'm not going to.
We'll save that for when we talk about it because I'm gonna have to
fuck that movie.
Yeah, Godzilla King of the Monsters is
the first one.
The first one. I was just like, we're just talking about how good that movie is. Now, the first one from 1956.
Yes,
that movie sucks. It's Godzilla Kai. They just recut it. They make this one. We need to save it. Anyway.
Yeah, man, my fucking case.
The original Godzilla movie, good movie. Or Gojira, and then Godzilla 1956, King of the Monsters, bad movie. Because it's just a retelling.
Raids again, good movie.
That's okay. They said how it was. I don't know.
The ending is kind of dragged out, but it's good.
You know, it's dragged out.
The humans and King of the Monsters.
No, Rebirth of Mothra, Part 1.
We're not gonna go into every single movie in our first episode.
We have to give them a taste. We have to be like, hey.
Yes, we're very knowledgeable, but not knowledgeable at the same time. We
have watched every single Godzilla movie at some point in our lives. And
recently up to Rebirth of Mothra.
Yeah.
1.
Yeah. Because we started rewatching them just because, and then when I moved out, it got harder. And then so we watched a couple of them when he would like come over, and then but then Godzilla Minus One got us talking about wanting to do this. And then it's like, well, we might as well cover all of them. So we're going to go back to the beginning and work our way back.
And my knowledge is going to be a little bit more full because I've been having Godzilla Station on Pluto in my room.
Shout out to Pluto TV.
For just like whenever I need background noise. So I just recently rewatched Mechagodzilla and Destroya again. And
really?
A little bit of Mechagearus too. Mechagearus. Fuck that bitch, by the way.
Mechagearus?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The music in that movie pisses me off a little bit. Another thing. The music in -1, makes me cream my fucking jeans. That is so fucking good.
Good stuff.
because they
Every time
use
they do the dun 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 dun,
that, the military theme, some of the other songs, like the one that was in Heisei. Oh my god, they just remade it to like it's perfect. Oh my god.
I agree.
And his roar, they just played the original roar over a lot of speakers and recorded that. And so that's why it's kind of like louder and more echoey, more like bass to it.
I really like the original roar because, like I said, we were watching the original movie and it was really good. They bring it back for Shin.
Yeah.
But I like I said, I like Shins better than Minus Ones. It's because it sounded a little bit more muffled, just because it's like echoed, reverberated. So we've been talking long enough. It's probably been well over an hour. I can't read it.
If I have more thoughts, we'll just say in the next episode. In 5 weeks.
It depends because we're both on break from school. I
just worked the weekend, so it's gonna be.
And I work every other Saturday. So, but I mean, like I said, unless we're in person, they'll probably just be like video podcast type things. But I'm gonna try and see if we can get this released on Spotify because they got random podcasts with Google Images as their as their cover. So
yeah,
we'll see what we can do.
Do not use AI, piece of shit.
Look,
no,
it was just for fun. It was just for fun. It was just for fun.
Make
so
Godzilla have nipples. What the fuck is wrong?
It wasn't me. I didn't do it.
It looks like shit.
Blame Midjourney. I didn't. They're not even gonna know what we're talking about. I'm not gonna post it.
You don't want to know.
Actually, I'm gonna edit it in just for you.
Please do not give AI
the spotlight.
Shit. Yeah, fuck that bitch.
All right. Well, anyway, so this series will be called Kaiju Kin, and then colon brothers discussing giant monsters.
Brothers sometimes guess. You don't know.
Maybe. Because we were gonna bring his girlfriend on because she's only seen the first couple because he's
she has seen Gojira, Rise Again, Mothra, Shin, and Minus One.
Because he's got her roped into his autism train.
Yes, sir.
My fiance has only watched, I believe, the Legendary movies, maybe the 98, and half of Shin Godzilla before she fell asleep. So she's a sleepy girl.
Get her on that.
Yeah, I know. I'll make her watch them with me as we go through, as I watch them for this. So, but once we go through the entire Godzilla catalog and related monsters, we're gonna go into Gamera because I watched some of them when I was really young. I have some on DVD. You probably have them at the house.
Really?
In the DVD cabinet. They're probably in there. It's like a collection of like maybe 3 movies, maybe only one. I don't remember. But I definitely remember having a Gamera movie on DVD.
I really want to watch the Heisei trilogy because apparently they're like really good.
Yeah.
Especially, I think the second one.
And then
I could be talking out my ass.
We have no idea.
My ass is my mouth.
And then look at my ass. Shout out to Distractable.
Yeah. Small YouTubers.
Yeah, you ever heard of Markiplier?
Very small indie YouTuber.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll go from there. We'll figure it out. Go over like some of the anime stuff for Godzilla. Maybe we'll get into Ultraman. I definitely want to touch on when we talk about Shin, maybe we can like branch off and do Shin, Ultraman, Shin Kamen Rider. Just for the tangentially related.
Kaiju.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not really, because they're not even monsters in that movie. Like, they're not even fighting anybody mutated. In Shin, Kamen Rider. They're augments. They're not.
They turn into animal monsters.
No, it's not the same. I know, because I wanted to bring in Black Sun because I like Black Sun, so we talked about it.
Yes,
but
he's a Kamen Rider fiend.
I've only seen like 3 series.
For 2 series. Yes, Amazon's and Black.
Yeah.
And you watched a little bit of, what was it?
Kuga. But Shin Kamen Rider, I've watched like 3 or 4 times now.
That is a really good movie. I need to rewatch it. I'm gonna watch it with her.
I don't know. But yeah, that's it. This will be an ongoing thing, hopefully. So if you like us talking about this, if you want to hear how people raised on Godzilla go back and rewatch these things. And like I said, we just watched them not that long ago, so it'll be kind of fresh.
I mean, we'll still talk about like some childhood memories because just when we were watching 54 last night, I was saying how the scene with the oxygen destroyer with the fish and Sarah was like loud, giving me nightmares.
Because he's a little bitch. Imagine being a child.
I was a baby and
weak ass.
I just remember going to sleep and like seeing like the skeletons of the fish. Fucking Hedra fucked me up, but we're not gonna go into that.
Yeah. I don't think any of them really scared me like that. Oh yeah, because you used to be scared of the car wash because of Hedra. So we gotta figure out how to say that his name before we want.
Hedra.
Hedra.
I think they say Hedra.
Hedra.
I say Hedra because I'm a little bitch and he's got a lump on his head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know, but that's it. Like, comment, subscribe, listen wherever you can. If this ends up on Spotify or something, then hit the little plus. You can hit the bell for when we release a podcast episode.
If you don't watch all the way through, we know. YouTube tells us.
That's true. My click-through rate is very high because people don't like listening to me rant.
Now you have 2 people ranting.
Woo! You can tell we're brothers, right? We talk exactly the fucking same.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
podcast out.
We can't steal that. I don't know. We have to come up with a sign off. But for now, we're just gonna say goodbye.
Peace.
So
I'm destroying his office with my presence.
God. The office is a mess right now. The workstation, the battle station. But all right, goodbye. Thank you for watching. If you did, thank you for listening.
My coffee and my water is behind the phone, and I really want it, but I didn't want to get up and look at it.
You can cut this out. Goodbye.
Bye.